And we are back. Welcome back to another edition of DevHub Live, but a special edition as Ready Layer One with my former co-host Jared. How's it going?
What up? What up? I almost was like, hey, welcome to Ready Layer One, a Web3 podcast that focuses on the near ecosystem. But it kind
Love
of
it.
still makes sense today. You know what I mean? I think it's actually coming in stronger and really stoked about that.
It does. It does. It does actually.
Dude, I
So,
rocked the old background, dusted off
I
the old
know
hard
you got
drive, found it.
you got the whole thing going. I was gonna do the whole overview, but I guess it's enough. But no, I really wanted to bring back Ready Layer One for our 50th episode here at DevHub because it's been over a year now. We've been doing this show. Uh, Ready Layer One lasted for a while, and then we took some time off. And I think it's a nice time to take a retrospective of what's kind of happened over the past year or so. Because I think the near that we talked about then is
Yeah.
different than the near we talked about now.
Yeah.
What
I
are your
mean,
thoughts?
you couldn't be more right. I mean, the near then, it was kind of like we had done it sort of that 2021, 2022 era, which was a blast. There was a lot of NFT projects and things like that. And it was a really like that whole era was around. And so there were a lot of projects kind of early stage. And some of the tech we were all kind of like talking during building, like, oh, this tech's here. And like as tech was being released, things were happening.
Yep.
And now we're at a different near in the sense that one, it's way more advanced in the sense it used to just be kind of the blockchain. Now we've got chain abstraction vertical with like all that kind of stuff that's just like intense, which is juggernaut. And then now you add on the whole layer of this like AI agent or agentic protocol, like everything about that. And now you have a different landscape.
Yeah.
And I think projects are now starting to, and we're seeing catch up to that. And now they're launching. And then, and then the community, the people stuck around, we're here, it's been pretty epic.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that's really stuck out is, and we used to talk about it all the time of like, how do we get to the point of actually having some real projects being built more so than just the NFT part of it? Like what comes after that? And you're starting to actually see all of that now. And I'm actually really enthusiastic about today's episode because the guests we have today all encompass all of that.
Yeah.
It goes from we're going to have a meme coin that became an NFT project. It's also a bigger DAO project that's done so much in the community.
Mm-hmm.
We have one of the latest technologies of shade agents being talked about.
Yeah.
We're talking about the new content hackathon coming up and just how to expand the content. And it's like there's been a new life breathed into not just near, but I would say like the larger blockchain ecosystem around some of this stuff.
Yeah, Joe, here's what I remember about Ready Layer One, how thoughtful you are. It's been a while to just like, always like chatting with you because you're just so thoughtful and you're right. And also, I mean, shout out to the community that was left that's like not staying quiet. I think that is like the most impressive thing is that people will say stuff, even if it's like a hard thing to say, but it's right. Or you know what I mean? Or it's open for discussion, you know what I mean? And I think, I mean, and you're seeing now there's like, I think there's a vibe shift. You can start feeling it. Foundations definitely really every call's ecosystem, like where are we thinking about them, projects, founders. You're starting to see a lot of things. Once Ilya came back just back a year and a half ago, I think a lot of this like titanic ship of near protocol has shifted into a really focused area, which is dope.
Yeah, and I really, for someone who's also building here, because we have our own project too, and we've commented on stuff, and so being so far ingrained with all the different parts of it, I do find it encouraging that it has probably weeded out some of the people that were not necessarily the ones that we're going to actually build and expand upon, and we're starting to see those who have been willing to stick it out and and see some of that come through. I'm hoping that people can build some success off of that. But I think a great place to start is I want to take a moment. I want to bring all our guests on stage together because I think everything we talk about affects all of this. And so I think it's good just to bring everybody up. And let's kind of dive into probably shade agents first and that new technology. So we have Owen from Now Proximity, my former co-host, formerly of DevHub, but now just left, Proximity. Sure, thinks it's cool. Great. We have Rhyme Taylor, Blackdragon.
Oh yeah.
And just, the everywhere man of the ecosystem. And then last but certainly definitely not least, Monza here, talk about content, just focusing the fire hose, getting out the word. He has been relentless on
The
social
fire
media.
chief, dude. He is
Yes,
out in
yeah,
the socials, man.
absolutely.
Behind the scenes, making it happen. Shout out.
So let's start with you, Owen. I want you to just take a second and maybe reintroduce yourself now in your new role, for those who remember you from your DevHub days, and kind of what are we talking about here with Shade Agents?
Yeah, good to be here again. It's been a long while, I think. I used to love doing these DevHub lives, but yeah, good to be on again. So yeah, at Proximity now, and it's like DevRel, developer experience, same thing really. And yeah, the main thing we're pushing is shade agents, which are basically the best agents within Web3. They're the only properly autonomous and like verifiable agents, in my opinion. And they're not just autonomous, verifiable. They don't just work on near. They're also multi-chain. We love every chain. So sharing the love.
Nice. What is, I guess, kind of just from a high level, like what makes a shade agent a shade agent? Like, why is it called that? Like, what is that all about?
Yeah, I don't really know why it's called Shade Agent, just kind of a cool name.
Yeah.
But yeah, when like TEs and agents were coming big in Web3, what a lot of people were doing were shoving these agents in a TE to be like verifiable, and you can't change what code is running inside of it, which is good, and it can work for like personal agents when you know like the private key inside of it. But if you really want like an autonomous system agent or an agentic protocol as such that multiple people are interacting with, then you can't just like shove a random private key in there that someone knows, because then it's basically custodial. So what Shade Agents does is it allows you to run these agents, but without there really being a private key that anyone knows, by using chain signatures, which has been around for a while. Best use case of chain signatures.
Oh, and I'm going to jump in here. And also, Monza, Ryan, we can all, like, this is like a conversation, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, and here's the thing that shade agents it's a bit abstract, but I think it's starting to, like, sort of become more visual in my mind, right? So if I was to think about a shade agent, like, what does it look like? Is it like an agent and a secondary agent, like, without using TEE and all that? Is it just like a dev? It's very dev focused, right? Like a builder focuses on shade agents. There's not like a widget where I hit a couple buttons, right? It's like you got to do some dev work on it.
Yeah, you got to develop it, but I mean, we're still reasonably early in the tech stack, so who knows? Like, we're making improvements every day. Before, you had to do a load of horrible mumbo jumbo to deploy an agent, but very soon you're not even going to have to like write a smart contract or whatever. It's just going to be pre-deployed for you. Shout out global contracts.
Nice. Can we vibe make these things? We'll spec, yo, make a Blackdragon one that can help amplify firehose content hackathon. Like,
I mean, I reckon you could just give Cursor enough context and create an agent pretty easily. Like, it should be reasonably easy. And yeah, what we're doing, because you got to really write near smart contracts in Rust. That's what the stack it relies upon. But the thing is, these agents run off like Docker images in the TE, so you can write in like whatever language you want, which is pretty awesome.
Is a TEE just like a black box where two agents can go, or an agent can go in and give information and then leave, and whatever happens in that black box, they're not like sharing with the world?
Sort of. It's like, well, it always stays there. It's just like what is running inside of there, you know what's running, and then you can't pull anything out unless you're saying you want to push stuff out of it.
Cool.
It's the back alley of AI.
doing mad back deals. Yeah, it's the dark pools.
It's the bank of AI. Like, you can't get in there.
So your shade agents right now just focused on like DeFi related and like token related things, or can it really be anything?
I think like a lot of the use cases to start off with are going to be DeFi. Like if you've been here for a while, you know that proximity has its roots in DeFi, so that's what we're pretty bullish on. And you may have seen some of the agents have come out already. It was like
like coin one.
Yeah, that's like a non-DeFi. No, I guess it is DeFi. It's more degen, that one. But yeah, there's like the mindshare agents, which trades on like, well, mindshare using intent. And then we're also bringing out like an RFA rebalancer using shade agents. So that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, this like sort of less DeFi ones where like agents interacting from Twitter and stuff, because that's a cool element of it, like authentication. You can just interact with them from wherever and it sort of be verifiable. You don't need to hold like a private key.
As just like a user, right? So why should users be excited about shade agents, and like how would it make my life, you know, easier if I'm interacting with proximity or anything? Like how are they gonna help me? Just to, you know, maybe that might help me understand a little bit more about them as well, not being a dev guy.
Yeah, I think we all came into Web3 with this idea of like smart contracts, right? And what does that even mean? It says smart in the name, but they're not really smart. They just sort of sit there and wait for a user to interact with. So DeFi and applications and everything on blockchain is pretty damn boring at the moment. You can't do that much because of like gas limits and limits of the blockchain, like virtual machine. So shade agents are trying to make them more smart and autonomous. So this will be an agent that like works on your behalf and like optimizes for example, yield or your portfolio without you having to interact with it. And it's like truly on your side. You don't have to sit there and interact with DeFi and trade on like a minute basis. It is truly smart and autonomous.
Yes.
So it saves you a bit of time. I like the towel in the background, by the way. Was that from Redacted?
Yeah, that definitely got stuffed in my backpack from the rooftop party there in Bangkok. That was coming home with me.
Nice.
I was thinking about making a pillow.
Yeah, I've got all the Redacted like Near-Week things up there. I've got up in the right there, right above my head is like a Denver Shard Dog poster, and then just some Save the Eggs.
Awesome.
We got Nico plushie hiding back there, and then just like some band art.
A Nico plushie. I still need to get mine. Are those already gone? I don't know. I had one. I don't think I didn't want to give him my address. I was like, I don't want to give like a Google Doc. I was like trying to figure out a way to get around it.
I've got an extra I can bring to the next event.
Totally want to rock it, man. I bought the you know.
Sometimes you just have to sacrifice your privacy to get the merch.
Dude, I know, but you know, Google Docs. I was like, whoa, you just want like straight info. Okay.
I sent my like family home address over Telegram to the Nightly team because I was desperate for their merch.
Well, this is your family's house, it's not your own. You don't live there anymore.
Family house is safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It was worth it.
Right.
Dude.
PingPay fixes this.
Exactly, Rhyme. Oh, dude, I saw that tweet. Can you talk about that, or is that still like a little bit like?
No, I think I have a little bit of liberty to speak on it because I think it's going to be a very fundamental use case for payments, for merch, for just general e-commerce, and going back to the principles of just again, Bitcoin was payments. Crypto was meant to be payments. It's meant to be transactional. It's meant to help function these independent ecosystems and economies. And one of the things that our friend Jay is doing over at PingPay is building what I would look at as a competitor, as an alternative. I would say that better, an alternative to things like Shopify and Wix. So merchants will be able to whip up their own individual merch store and marketplace, and being able to enable crypto payments of any kind, essentially. And then really looking to be able to optimize the onboarding and offboarding, because I think that keeping things as familiar as possible for people outside of our bubble is super important, but also just in the sense of like the people that are going to be using this ideally are going to be doing physical goods. They're not looking to they're not really, they're not looking for a full degenerate experience. They're not trying to, hide everything. They're just trying to do things that they would normally do. And this is a way to kind of like empower these different creators, these different merchants, and different vendors.
Well, this is why I'm like, I think now's the time for this kind of project, like a PingPay, because remember back in like NFT days, there were a couple projects where like, we're going to do merch, but I don't think the tech was there yet. The off ramps, the on ramps, it was a little too sort of early stages. Now you're going to have like much different on ramping and off ramping, which has always been the crux of that kind of project. Like, how do I get money on? How do I get money off? And all the other stuff. So I'm excited to see it. And also Jay, I mean, always a fan of him.
Huge fan of Jay. So PingPay realizes a whole lot of dreams. So really grateful that he's spearheaded that and bringing that to life, and going to be a core component in some of the different initiatives that we're going to be working on, trying to build up the cultural layer, build up more content creators and just creators and artists in general, and just being able to have these fundamental marketplaces to be able to operate in. I mean, one of my favorite sayings right now is the world is a marketplace, and it doesn't really matter how you look at it, but it does operate that way. So being able to have individuals and individual entities being able to own their entire shop from the top down as vertically as they want, or feel the need to, I think is going to be a game changer. And I think the difference here with what Ping is doing versus, as you mentioned, these other NFTs that were looking to do merch, is that was just kind of like something to do, right? Like, it's like, we're going to do merch because we don't really have anything else to do. And, merch is easy, but it's also an art form in itself. It's a community building asset. And I think that it's going to be a whole lot different whenever that is the focus. You're focused on vendors. You're focused on the people that are building these brands, and these marketplaces are just a tool, not something that they're just falling back on because they have to figure out how to appease these degenerate shareholders.
I like that. And I think you can probably, if you want to keep going a little bit on like how this kind of fits into what Blackdragon's vision is, because one of the things that's really been important over, I say, the past few years is that the culture on different chains has seemed to have made a difference in how that some of those chains have grown. And you guys have really tried to both build upon and expand what the culture is. I wouldn't even say continue, because there wasn't much before. So I'd say more of just like try to really expand and take it. So what is Blackdragon doing right now around that stuff? Muted. You muted yourself.
Forever looking for the mute unmute button. But yeah, I mean, as far as like the culture that existed before and what's happening now with Blackdragon, I think that you can look at a lot of the most positive and impactful instances of culture building stemming from that era, from the inception of Blackdragon, and then the different ripple effects that it had. And from the beginning, we've always looked at ourselves as an extension of Near, a conduit, a sandbox, really just kind of that complementary piece that is inextricably linked to that parent chain. You know, the near for gas fees, Blackdragon for everything else, was one of the original mantras, and more than just a catchphrase, it was really something that did genuinely and very unironically inspire me in the way for us to kind of go about that and leverage it and think about how we can use and apply this token, use this brand that has more or less become a mascot even before the token itself existed, and give our project more meaning, and to be able to have it be something that is helping move the larger Near vision forward. And with Near itself being such a tech-oriented chain, and that being their culture, we looked at ourselves as kind of the polarity of that, and being able to complement that with cultural and social activations while using the tech in those different contexts. So that's really what we're working on now. And I mean, we've got a whole suite of tools and different things that we're working on, but you know, I don't want to suck the air out of the room either. Jared, nice handle.
I'm just gonna keep changing the handles as I go, and you keep dropping great things. You know, like
the Woody Page of Ready Layer One.
yeah, totally.
I was gonna say the Blackdragon activations, at least from my perspective, or at these events, were the best time I had out there. So, you know, in Denver, not this year, but last year, Blackdragon, you know, running around in the inflatable dragon costumes, me and Cam Dennis throwing eggs out to people, like all that stuff, and the content that came from it was awesome, and it's everlasting. Like I'm still using some of that content today, and the relationships and all the relationship building and everything that happens at those events is great. And what Blackdragon did really well was made these crypto events look really cool, which it isn't always the easiest thing to do at some of them, but you know, find a way to make them look cool, have fun. And
oh, dude, little I'm sure everybody here knows, but Ryan's mad tastemaker. Always, like, everything you send, I'm always like, that looks cool. Like, you know, you don't miss. Sure. So it's cool to see.
Well, I think we all still repping our profile pics?
So what is the deal? Like, I have like a Shard Dog one that Joe and I have something that we're gonna do with in the future, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and you know, I do want to keep this positive and optimistic, because I feel like I'm probably very outspoken the other way, and I don't want those things to get conflicted. But I mean, essentially, we just lost the last of our NFT marketplaces, and again, going back to like very fundamental primitives and things, and there's a whole spectrum of ideas and philosophies around NFTs and degen culture that I think, you know, are valid all across the spectrum. And what we lack are nuance in those discussions. But however, whenever a chain loses its last native marketplace for NFTs, there is a bit of a holding period as we get those things figured out. But to that point, we are actively in the works in developing our own NFT marketplace. And Joe, I think you might know a thing or two about that from what I understand. But
Alpha.
yeah.
No, wait, are you doing Merkle-free NFTs that you created?
We're no, we're looking at it to be a community launch pad and to stimulate gaming and creative assets, where on the one side, rather than again trying to compete with Blizzard and AAA and Microsoft and Sony and all of them, and not saying we couldn't or should at some point, but as the independent Blackdragon team and working with some other strong members of throughout the Near ecosystem, the greatest value that we can give is to be able to provide a launch pad for different digital and in-game assets. So kind of taking the California gold rush principle, and rather than trying to just find gold and flips, we want to be able to sell those picks and shovels and axes, and being able to help facilitate these other experiences so that we can partner with larger platforms.
Well, and I think you're bringing up something very interesting right now, which is like, there's a lot of amazing infrastructure. The infrastructure is here, right? And now it's like, let's do things. Like, the infrastructure is amazing. And now it's like, give me something with gaming. I'm in. You tell me what to do. You know what I mean? I'm in. So like, I'm excited to start doing stuff like consistently that, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, what I saw some data pretty recently, and I mean, it doesn't take the data to realize that we live in a gaming culture, whether that's a 24/7 cycle or casually friends playing Madden. But, you know, even the friends that don't play games, a lot of them, I mean, at least before streaming, had an Xbox or something just to play DVDs. For the old cats out there, and I mean, that was just like a few years ago for real. But gaming culture itself is, I mean, one of the greatest monolithic and shared experiences that we have today. And I think that's only going to continue to grow. And the stat that I saw was, as far as entertainment, it was gaming is almost double, significantly more than both music and movies combined as far as revenue goes. And, you know, again, everything's kind of about gamification, even the trading, and we've turned perps and everything else into a lifestyle. So I think it's important for any chain really to have some kind of gaming opportunity, some kind of gaming outlets. And it just so happens that people on our team are deep and into that space, so they do have the insights to be able to provide for that. So that's something that we're looking to go harder into.
I think Near is the best chain for gaming. To be a bit controversial here, I mean, we got function call access keys.
Yeah.
They were pretty awesome for gaming. But now, I mean, shade agents are going to be pretty big for gaming, and we definitely need to have a sync around that. I mean, you can do whatever you want in there, like randomness. We all know what randomness is good for. Spin the wheel.
Yeah. Any chance that can we get these shade agents to pull like they battle each other, like everybody makes their own shade agent, they run around the blockchain and they hide in like Twitter and or X and everything, and they hunt each other, and it's kind of like a Highlander thing where only one can survive, or like
you know, they're not actually people, right? Like
I know, but I'm saying I can make something like that though, right? Can't we whatever?
Jared advocating for more Twitter bot personalities right now.
No.
Clip
The
it.
thing is they get each other, and then like if they I want to
What happens when they get each other?
I don't know.
We're gonna simulate murder on live on X.
On-chain murder.
Make it cool. I don't know. We do some cool animation. I don't know.
I want to see you build it, Jared.
Dude. Yeah. Until I can vibe build it, it's not happening.
Okay. Can we
That's
vibe
the real
build that?
life.
Or
Yeah.
You can
That's
vibrate
great.
anything.
I mean,
That's the bridge to in real life to the digital world, the real on-chain murder mystery.
Totally. That'd be
Oh,
awesome.
man. What excites me about gaming, I guess what makes me unexcited about gaming right now is just like the lack of ownership even in games, right? Like I don't even own half the games that I play right now because they're on Xbox Game Pass, right? So it's like I subscribe to Xbox Game Pass, I put however many hours into this game, and then if they take it off Game Pass, then I have to go buy it again and all this other stuff. So just even owning your own games and then owning your assets in games, that's what excites me about just as simple as that. If I could own my game again, and if I could own my cosmetics in games and those were NFTs, that would be game changing.
Was that a pun? And they need to open source games as well, because like I have some games that I love, but they've just gone offline because there weren't enough players. So if that was open source, it'd be awesome if communities could just spin up new instances of the game, and we could keep playing and have a revival.
I want to pull this conversation a little bit back to, and this is probably better suited for both Monza and Rhyme here, of like, why though now is it better that some of these communities are participating and starting to build out some of this stuff, where like we were so reliant on trying to have like, you know, somebody come in hopefully and build something, but now it feels like, especially the critical infrastructure stuff like a NFT marketplace or something like that, coming from a community project like Blackdragon that already exists, like what is the benefit there around that?
Well, I think you're going to have people staying a lot longer, right? Like when we were just funding projects, funding someone to build this, they would meet their deliverables, right? And we've seen a lot of projects leave Near for for other chains, and then just kind of completely abandon the near side of things. If these projects are homegrown from the community, started in the community, and then they're the ones that, you know, are building the infrastructure, you have much less chance of them leaving, and then also understanding the community and what they need and what they want, aligning everything. So what do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, and I mean, to that point, infra is great. Infra is imperative for the entire chain and operation to function, right? But if there aren't any users, it doesn't really matter. So I think that it's incredibly important to have these more cultural experiences, these user experiences, for people to be able to get involved. Like you said, we need things to do. And we need things to do that is not building your own platform. And we need those platforms for other people to use. So we need builders. So we're stuck in a little bit of a chicken and an egg situation. But again, there's several different layers to this crypto industry and space. And we have this dichotomy of tech that is, I mean, rapidly evolving and changing how we fundamentally operate just in society, but we also have a community responsibility to be able to give users a reason to exist here, because ultimately the tech is, you know, if we want to have everything to be open source, that means that everyone has access to the same tech. And, you know, there are enough big brains that can do enough with it. So that doesn't become an advantage anymore, especially with AI continuing to equal the playing field as well. So you have to really prioritize these different human experiences and find a way to be able to merge those tech value propositions with things that are going to be appealing to actual users in a game that is vibes driven and money driven. And somehow you have to figure out a way to make the tech make sense without selling off or selling out your entire, you know, treasury to chase the latest trends.
Right. But I think the treasury part is interesting to me too, because like, so other chains you see, like every project launches with a token, and there's good and bad around that, right? Like there is good because it gives an instant marketplace, but then so many tokens go to zero immediately, and now that project is in a hole. You guys at Blackdragon are now an established token. You have some stability. Yes, obviously sometimes price fluctuates, but you have some stability as a group, as a token. Is it something where you guys feel that through that you can invest into building out some of these projects, hopefully take some reinvestment, because you're not doing things for free. Like there are things that are making money and can do stuff, and then, you know, hopefully feed into that cycle, right? Where again, like you've already have that establishment versus trying to go from zero.
100%. And for my own sake, I've always really resented kind of the grant culture and the grifting culture that has been perpetuated across all chains. And when I got here back in 2021, where money was about the fakest it's ever been everywhere, and Near was not unique. And I was looking at the way that things were happening. I was just like, this doesn't make sense. Like we're selling people DAOs on the idea of like DAOs exist as this money funnel. And it's like, wait a minute, where does the money come from? And without going too deep into, excuse me, into that, you know, I, again, always resisted really buying into that myself, because I just didn't think it would, you know, turn out. And, you know, it didn't. But we've always really been focused on trying to be self-sustainable. And, you know, this is like Web3 has desensitized us to how things work. Like very few spaces in the world exist where it's like, hey, I have this idea, pay me for it. And again, there's some chicken and egg things too, because this is a very nuanced and layered kind of discussion, because you do have to incentivize builders, especially builders that do end up proving themselves in the ecosystem, when you risk losing them to other chains that are more supportive, for lack of better words. And it's been difficult for me sometimes to be able to properly elocute some of those issues, because as an individual, I've felt very supported most of the time. And that's not anything that is lost on me, and I'm incredibly grateful. But some of the other things that maybe haven't been supported as well affect me directly, and
Sure.
not just my token price, but it affects our ability to be able to be self-sustaining, because you can't be a pillar in an ecosystem. You can't be a foundational part of Near City if the rest of the townspeople have, disappeared. So
Right.
that's kind of what we're looking to hopefully be able to align with further as, we look to this different renaissance. Is how can we be that vehicle? How can we be that outlet, that sandbox for new users, new creators, new developers, and really be a service and an extension of Near, and be part of realizing that bigger vision, which for me has always led me to believe in what we are doing here ultimately.
Yep. Yeah. Monza, I want to pivot a little bit to the content piece of this and getting people excited to organically make content about something. And obviously here we're trying to focus on Near, but just like in general, I mean, what has been the approach for you to get people excited enough that they want to participate, just in general of the whole voice of the chain?
Yeah, so I think just start with this. Like if you have products that are fun and people like to use and they're using them all the time, I think naturally they're gonna make content about them. So like again, for gaming, for example, right? Like if there was a really fun game to play on Near, and it could, Cade says this all the time too, right? Like Spear on Near, it could just be something that you sit and play on the toilet. But if I can make a 5-minute video about that and post it, and other people are playing the game and engage with, like, people are going to make content about the things that they use. So it starts with, having a lot of things for people to use on the chain. And I think we're getting there, right? Like the Near intent stuff is cool. Community projects are starting to put out a lot of stuff. Like we had Shih Tzu and Meme.cooking for a while. That was, they were going crazy for a little bit, and we were doing the 10-bot DAO streams, and, we were making content every night. But, then I feel like after Redacted, and I think you guys can speak to this too, like Near kind of lost, we just all lost connection, right? Like the community didn't really know what Near was doing. Near didn't really know what the community was doing. And for a few months there, we were just kind of like in a limbo. And now like the community is excited again, just like kind of naturally, because they see what Near is doing. And there's a focused message, and they have something to look at, something to make content about. And then, you have Kaido, which is fine. Like I don't get too excited about Kaido. Maybe that's just me because I only have 0.62 yaps, and Jay will tweet once a month and he gets like 15 yaps every one that he gets. So like Kaido's whatever, people get excited about it, people are tweeting. What gets me a little bit more excited is like the RIA campaign with Kaido, right? Where they're not exactly using Kaido's data, but they're using that to leverage people making content about their project. So
Right.
he is putting up 150K. They're rewarding people that are making content about their project, but they're not just saying we're looking at the Kaido leaderboard. They're looking at all of the content being made. Did it get views? Was it educational? Can they repurpose it for all this other stuff? So those campaigns get me a little bit more excited. And then we have the content hackathon too, which is just directly rewarding creators on Near, giving them bounties, giving them what we want to see content made on. Make content on this. We've got our prizes. You make good content, you're probably going to get rewarded for it.
And we just finished all of our Nern bounties, which is good. And thank you for that. A lot of help on the ecosystem side on that. But also let me I want to talk about Kaido real quick and some other content ideas. And it's so hard because it is a chicken egg thing. And in Web 2 world, people can be tech reviewers, and there's a carrot at the end, which is influencer, and they'll make a living at it, right? So there's people between there and there. But now here's Kaido and Rhyme. I'm down to have a conversation. I think alone, it's not maybe going to be the silver bullet people hope it is. However, as part of like it's a very like, you still have to like, it can get people, maybe it can be like a little gasoline to get people in, but then there's got to be so much more to keep them there. Like it's got to be like, oh, I'm gonna go use Kaido to try to get some rewards, and then they're like, oh, actually there's this dope game, okay, I'll play it, even though I don't think a ton of that's gonna happen, but I think it could start with that way. And when you align it with a project, and keep in mind, we'll see the data after all this and we'll be able to like follow up. Like my personal opinion is maybe less important as the data, so that'll be interesting to see. So once that's all run, I can't wait to dive into that.
Yeah, and I think to a couple of those points, I mean, Monza, the consistent theme we was talking about was shared experiences and having people, giving something for people to be a part of. As for Cato, I think it's like any other tool and any other marketing campaign. It's a piece, it's a component, it's a complementary piece. What turns me off on things like that, because in this space we have a tendency to really drink the Kool-Aid of the flavor of the moment and then think this is the be all end all. And then, we talk about having to play the game, and we seem to have like somebody switch like the playbook with the Washington Generals sometimes. So little Harlem Globetrotters reference there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that I didn't catch that one.
I got it.
I sure Joe did. Joe might have, but
I got it. Yeah,
my sports references are very minimal.
I got the sports and rap references are for Joe.
Thank you.
For future reference. But no, like, but as you were talking about earlier, Jared, like, or about having things to do, and then to Monza's point, content creators are just going to naturally create content about the things that they gravitate to. And going back to that chicken and egg thing with campaigns with things like Cato right now, and as it pertains to Near and the way things stand, we need more things to make content about, right? Because like infra's not fun content, and there's still plenty of those type of content creators, but if you're talking about like being able to strategically cultivate vibes and cultivate a community of people and users, it's really important to be able to transcend that. And I think that does need to be kind of fixed and some foundational pieces put in place, and to be able to make those things more effective and sustaining in the future, because otherwise what we're going to see is just these quick burns and they're gone, and then it becomes Haley's comment, and then we have to wait for the next meta that somebody else creates and to jump on and then relate to. And again, we've got the Washington Generals playbook.
Yeah. So here's something that I want to like, I think you're hitting on some good points, and I want to think about like when I think of crypto in general, right? It's been a B2B space for so long, where it's all just been infra connected with infra. How do we incorporate these projects with each other? And there's still an infra B2B, which is traditionally like maybe not the most exciting content people, because like there's a lot of Web2 projects that are just B2B that do numbers that no one sees. But now there's something very interesting, a B2C, where this consumer content is going to be much different. You know what I mean? And that's where I think it's got to be like a bit more engaging. It's got like lifestyle stuff. Like I think that's where the kind of content will be going now, as the whole entire space starts to kind of build more applications.
The whole world.
Yeah.
The whole world. I mean, the White House is shit posting on like the White House Twitter account. Like the Overton window is obliterated, does not exist, never going back. And that doesn't mean, again, to sell out on degeneracy, but it does mean to have a pulse of the moment, of the current culture that you exist in a micro, and then the larger culture in a macro, and then being able to essentially apply your own kind of authentic sauce to that recipe. And rather than trying to be able to replicate, like you can't fake authenticity, and that's what people gravitate to, whether it's brands, whether it's games, whether it's communities. Like that's ultimately what it is. And then creating these shared experiences. And I'm trying to get this train back, because I had one specific point that I really wanted wanted to make, and I'm losing it, and I'm so mad at myself right now.
Dude, that just happens. You're crushing great knowledge. But yeah, we're trying to find some of these links. But Joe, what do you think?
I got it. I came back. Joe, sideline, bro. No, I think we are still in that B2B state, but it's not B2B in infra. It's B2B as in, what are these other distribution models that are encompassing the infra to apps to consumers? I hate overusing the music festival parallels and just the music industry parallels, but I think they're so appropriate so often because they are so similar, and being in both for a significant amount of time and having plenty of overlap now, like it kind of reinforces those similarities. And something that Solana has done very well and Coinbase has done very well in the past is they've gone into these cultural spaces, and they have, they're building these B2B models with someone like a Live Nation or somebody on these cultural sides of these businesses that have a huge network of consumers, and then using their B2B as a distribution. I know that that's redundant, but that is the difference between trying to sell to another tech business versus trying to sell culture. And we're forgetting that as we're selling tech, we are undebatably selling culture as well. And until we understand that as a whole, either as an industry or as an individual chain, we will always be playing from behind.
Nice. Joe, what do you, I like hearing your ideas on content too, because you're doing a lot of dev stuff behind the scenes, but you're always, we definitely have some content conversations. You're in it.
Yeah. It's a complicated time because everyone wants content tailored to themselves, and that includes devs, and devs are not always the same, and you're starting to see a change. This is going to come off as probably just stereotypical with everything else nowadays, but like the generational divide is really a big difference of where they're trying to get their content from, and where younger generations definitely want more video, definitely want things explained a little bit more there, and that they can kind of do step by step. And then you still have, though, a whole another generation that is not really ready for that and still wants just docs and still wants just type that word. And with AI, you want type that word because I want to feed that into my AI system. And so there is this push and pull right now for developer content of which category are you serving, who are you trying to serve, and then on top of all of that, everything is moving so fast. I mean, stuff that I made 3 months ago is almost outdated already, and that's hard to then keep up with. So it's something where I love the idea of getting the community more involved because they can stay on top of trends, and you can really distribute the weight of some of the stuff much better, where I'd rather the community do 12 videos on a topic and be 90% of the way there, and then it says, okay, we need someone from DevRel to actually come in and do the last 10%. Make one short video, because that just changes how you approach the rest of this, because you just can't do it all.
Yeah, agree. I like that. What do you think, Ryan? You unmuted or?
No, I mean, I do agree, and I think that we get lost in it being an either or thing, and it's really a synergist and complementary thing. The problem is whenever you go too hard on one side or the other, and you drown out that. Again, it's a dichotomy. It's a tech and culture go hand in hand, and it doesn't matter how many nerds tell you it doesn't. They're wrong. The world never stops operating like a high school, and everyone's trying to find the best party. And that doesn't mean Project X. That means they're trying to find their tribe. They're trying to find their community. They're trying to find their best experience. And one thing that we know from high school is the computer nerds don't usually throw the best parties. but they can give us the best tricks and the best tools and the best things that we can be able to use, and to be able to stream our music, and to being able to fix our light show, and to being able to run our back end financial systems and everything else. And all of those things work together. Like, people would be amazed at the tech that goes on behind, I mean, what, operating a grocery store, operating a music festival. These are all like very consumer oriented businesses that are like live and die by the tech that they use, but they also live and die by the community and the people that they serve. And going back to these music industry parallels is, you have a lot of artists, and I've worked with many throughout the years, is they're always looking at, what can I get from my audience? What can I do so that they'll give me things? And it's like, you're already losing with that mindset, because ultimately, like, if you want to be an artist, if you want to be in the music business, like, there is a business. If you want to be an artist in your room, that's fine. And there is nothing expectation of reciprocity for your efforts. But like, if you want to be in the business is a service, and it's a service to those consumers and to those people and to those fans. And that's what we are needing to create, is we're needing to create more super fans of brands, super fans of these missions, and super fans of these ideas. And you do that by stimulating a culture. Like, Donald Trump's not in office because he has the best ideas. He's in office because he's got the best hats.
Yeah. No, I think you're spot on with a lot of that. I will push back a little bit. As I threw some sick ragers in college, so I might be.
Joe was quite the
Joe. What do you? Joe, you're my old head rapper friend. You're like, dog.
Dude.
Yeah. So
someday, not on this podcast,
I'm not sharing any details here.
Stories from college.
I could throw a good card back in the day.
We gotta we gotta share those.
I do want to, as we're coming up on the hour, I do want to spend some time though. And this is definitely big time alpha that we've hinted towards.
Nerd.
So there is a hackathon coming that is content focused, and it is on the brand new site Nern. This will be live soon, that everyone will be able to kind of go to. And Nern is a place where anyone can go and earn, hence that. And it really is an opportunity here to be better involved in the ecosystem, actually maybe make a little bit of money. Any project can use this. Anyone can make a bounty. It's not restricted to just, like the foundation or DevHub or anything else like that. Anyone can come on here and make a sponsorship. But we do want to give everyone a sneak preview of what this is. And maybe Monza, you want to talk a little bit about the goal of the hackathon?
I just want to say a couple things real quick, and then Monza, you take this over. I was going to say right now, this is a rough page. Like, some of the numbers aren't right on that and everything. So don't think that this is what you're seeing, like a work in progress thing. So I just want to make sure that is there. But we're figuring out like prizes and all that. We have a pretty good gauge on that, but like those numbers aren't accurate right now. Just wanted to like shout that out. We're trying to figure out some stuff on the back end on how to show the right things. So it's kind of building as we're going. But yeah, Monza, jump in, give it go for it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like you said, it's nothing on here is official, and all the even the stuff over here on the right isn't completely finalized yet. But here is the product or project. We're launching it through Nern, which is going to be launching. You've been using it, right, Joe, for DevHub stuff for a while. So
yeah, we've been dog fooding it for a little bit here. Yeah, so it will be fully live next week.
Yeah, so that's launching at the same time as the hackathon. So excited about that. Just, a place where projects themselves can put up their own bounties, creators can put up their own bounties, anyone's going to be able to, put up their bounty, show exactly what you want. You can see over here, like for the content hackathon, we're looking for short form video content. We're going to be giving you projects that we're looking for content on, the type of content we want to see from those projects. So, like RIA, meme cooking, Meteor Wallet, give us walkthroughs on those.
Give us a master video of all the wallets. Just break down the wallets, man. There's like, there's a wallet page. Just go and, break them down.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that.
We can get pretty basic with it. We can get pretty crazy with it. We're looking for everything here, and everything and anything. Near needs all the content, and these projects are also all looking for content. So that was the community vertical. So we're going to be, that's focusing on ecosystem projects like we talked about, like these OGs and projects that have been here building, not not directly related to near, but near projects. So like I said, Shih Tzu, Blackdragon, Elliot's building cross posts, Slime's building some cool stuff. All those projects, we wanted to highlight them. So they all gave us the type of content they're looking for. We're going to throw that in there. And then you're also going to be able to make content about basically any other near project you want. So I think we're linking the trending page on Near Catalog. We'll kind of clean that up a little bit, go through there. That page should have all the information that you need on any project to make some good content about it. And then we also have the Near Intense vertical, which is we've got separate prize pools for both. There's going to be 10K up for grabs, 5K for each vertical. This one's going to focus just on near intense projects. So Kyber Swap, Infinix, give us tutorials, how to sign up, how to use it, cool things you can do. And then explain to us what near intense is, why it excites you. Anything like that, that's what this vertical is focusing on. So you got anything, Jared?
Oh man, you crushed it. The main thing, it's just like, this is like the first of a hopefully many more content hackathons. And what we're trying to do is align this. Like, this is the first, just like, let's do ecosystem, let's do near intense. But as time goes on, it's like, how can a bunch of people, like Joe said, and everybody said, it's better to have a bunch of people make videos than one person make a ton of videos, right? Like in my mind, it's like, let's get the whole community. And hopefully if you know people who are making content that you think would be good fits too, we can like start bringing in more content creators, right? And having place where, you've got content aligned with community and ecosystem, and then you've got Blackdragon and stuff. It's just kind of bringing a lot more of that energy in for the ecosystem to do stuff. And like really just support, like there's a lot of talented people out there. I want to start, focusing that way,
Yeah, for sure. A lot of cool people creating a lot of cool stuff on Near right now. So give them an opportunity to get rewarded. That isn't just Kato or Kaido, however you say it, not just looking for yaps, but an actual bounty, like make us a video on this here.
So we're judging these. So this is the thing. So let's so the bounties, or what the bounties are kind of like the prizes is how it's set on Nern, right? So it's not like, so we're gonna have 8 judges. I think Rhyme, you're a judge, right? Like, we got some judges happening on here. Monza, are you judging? You going judge? See, we got 3 judges on here. Joe, you're not judging until we do a dev focused one. That's the goal, that we start focusing this content fire hose in directions that need content, that we have the skilled people who can do it. Let's focus it and help align it. So that'll be cool. So we'll be judging it and giving out prizes, and it'll launch on the 11th. It's the 25th is like the deadline, and there's some really cool things to like sign up. And we also have some cool stuff on the back end using Curate Fun and Cross Post, which I've been diving into those projects too. Pretty cool stuff.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be.
What day is it, Monza? What number day as far as asking Near Protocol to use Open Cross Posts? What are we on?
I think we're on day 12 right now.
Keep it going. We'll get there.
Keep begging, guys.
No, that's not. No, I didn't mean that. No.
Bread and circus.
What is Crosspost for people who don't know? I mean, we had, just to clear, if you want to go back to previous DevHub lives, we had Elliot on here to talk about it and break it down. But just kind of high level, what is Crosspost, Monza?
Oh, I'm giving that one to Rhyme, bro. Rhyme's on stream with Elliot all the time.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Here's what I hope someone makes a video on Cross Post and Curate Fun, because I do think they work well together. Elliot just did a deep dive with me like 2 days ago, and I'm like, oh, I see the light now. So now I'm starting to level with it.
What did the light tell you when you saw it?
So here's where I think Curate Fun is like where the light bulb hit, right? There's going to be a lot, like just organizing lots of content. Like individuals, you can create lists, you can have stuff kind of come in there, and then you can sort of like figure out how to share it and do other things like that on one level. And I think it will be able to amplify content at a level that one person alone can't do. And you're relying on that. And I think that's like an interesting aspect. I'm still trying to figure out how the cross post works with the Curate Fun. He's helping me understand that, but
yeah, the Curate.fun's a cool thing because it's allowing you to curate your own feed essentially, or for different groups to be able to organize their own feed. And it's not dissimilar to the Twitter lists where you can pick and choose who you want to see and being able to organize it based on whatever that topic or group is. So essentially it's a Web3 platform, very familiar to other similar ones where you're able to post to multiple platforms from that one, being able to manage some of your social media flow. And then something that we know is you don't actually own your content that is on these platforms. So if you haven't taken the proper precautions to back your things up, goodness, should anything happen, this is a way for you to be able to archive your content and essentially.
But I can back up all my
own it
tweets
from Genesis Zero.
I can back up everything on this.
Like as the ones that you use them, from what I understand.
Oh, but I was like, can I take all my past posts over the years and just like drop it in there? It's like a
that might be a trick that Elliot would be better off answering.
Okay, cool. I'm like, that's cool. But
nice.
And also one other thing that he told me that I didn't understand. So I thought like when you connect your account to a third-party product, you're giving them read-write access, right? Like you're giving them some pretty serious control of your account. So they can actually post for you. So that, but then Elliot was saying that like there's a secondary sort of safety net, which is actually having the Near wallet connected to it. So you're kind of almost like safer than using like a buffer or something like that. Like a buffer, there is no safety net. And with at least Curate Fun, you have the wallet there too. So that was interesting.
Yeah, and I imagine that was probably a priority and core idea from the beginning, just knowing Elliot.
I do think that like connecting an account to a third party is always like I'm very hesitant to do that, but like after him explaining it, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we just need like 30 straight days of tweets, and then the Near account will finally just get annoyed with us, and they will the intern will give in. I feel like the intern's just playing with us at this point, honestly, just like seeing how long we'll go, how far will they go.
There's no intern, it's a janitor, man. There's a big difference there.
I wish.
You're right.
I wish I knew who these people were, and their avatars and anonymity remain a mystery to me.
Me too.
Yeah, same.
Well, on that note, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me and coming on DevHub Live, episode 50. And hopefully we continue to kind of see a lot of growth out of the Near ecosystem, continue to get this pumped up. I'm excited for the content hackathon. I definitely want to, when we have some winners of the bounties, we should actually do something here on DevHub and get those videos out and content out and show all that off. But
that's where Curate Fun comes in. I'm telling you, it's a pretty dope platform, man. It's got some like legs on it for sure.
Nice. Before we go, just we'll give the last word to everybody. Whoever wants to go first.
I'll start promote anything. Like I said, the content hackathon's launching next week. Just get ready, get excited. I'm excited to see what people cook up. If you got any questions on that, you can reach out to me. I'm the community lead on that, so I'll be answering questions. I'll be in the trenches there with you, helping promote your content, getting it out there, making sure you get it submitted and everything. So perfect. Any questions about that, just reach out to me. We'll get things right.
Perfect. Ryan?
Never ever fade the dragon.
There you go.
And yeah, that was good. I think for me it's never, I think Ryan, you said something earlier, and it's not either or, and I think this is like the biggest thing that I believe in, that foundation, ecosystem, community, node, project, founder, builder. I think we're all in this together, right? Like I think like we all have like a North Star. Like we're trying to like build in a place that like we hopefully will like be user owned and we'll be able to have digital ownership, and it's kind of counterculture in that way, which I really like, that we're going for it. And it's not either or, we're all in it together. Let's just like support each other. I'm liking where the vibes are going. Let's just keep leaning into like that. And I hope that's where it keeps going. Oh, and content hackathon. Make sure you join. I'm excited. There's gonna be some content on that. We're gonna have Marcus coming on. We're gonna have some cool stuff.
Nice. Well, awesome time. I really appreciate everybody coming on. Also, thanks to Owen for coming on as well, talking about shade agents, stuff like that. If you haven't subscribed to the DevHub newsletter, please do so. The link has been scrolling down below the whole time. Hopefully you got it. If you want to build something or you're interested in just developing on Near, check out our docs, join our Telegram group. We will be there as well for you. Until next week, I'm your host, Joe. Thanks everybody for showing up, and we will see you then. Bye, folks.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.